Arthur Schopenhauer and Friedrich Nietzsche were two of the most influential thinkers of the 19th century. Their philosophies, though distinct, have left an indelible mark on the landscape of Western thought, shaping the way we understand the world and our place within it. Their ideas continue to resonate deeply in the 21st century, influencing not just academic circles, but also popular culture, literature, and even modern psychology. The questions they raised about human existence, suffering, and the pursuit of meaning remain as relevant today as they were over a century ago. Schopenhauer, the pessimist, saw the world driven by a blind, irrational force he called will. This will, according to Schopenhauer, is the underlying reality of everything, manifesting itself in endless striving and desire, which inevitably leads to suffering. His view was profoundly influenced by Eastern philosophies, particularly Buddhism, which also emphasizes the role of desire in human suffering. Nietzsche, often seen as his successor, affirmed life's struggle with his concept of the will to power. Unlike Schopenhauer, Nietzsche saw this will as a positive force, driving individuals to overcome obstacles and achieve greatness. He believed that through embracing life's challenges and asserting one's own values, individuals could transcend their limitations and create their own meaning. Though their philosophies share common ground, their conclusions about human existence diverged dramatically. Schopenhauer's bleak outlook suggested that the best one could hope for was to minimize suffering through asceticism and detachment. Nietzsche, on the other hand, championed the idea of the Übermensch, or overman, who creates his own values and lives life to its fullest potential. Schopenhauer, born in 1788, lived a life marked by pessimism and solitude. His personal experiences, including a troubled relationship with his mother and a series of professional disappointments, deeply influenced his worldview. He spent much of his life in relative isolation, dedicating himself to his philosophical work. His masterpiece, The World as Will and Representation, painted a bleak picture of human existence trapped in a cycle of desire and suffering. This work, though not immediately successful, eventually gained recognition and influenced a wide range of thinkers, from psychologists to artists. Nietzsche, born 40 years later in 1844, led a life just as troubled. His early career was promising, but he soon faced numerous health issues that plagued him throughout his life. Despite these challenges, Nietzsche's intellectual output was prolific, and his ideas were revolutionary. Despite his struggles with physical and mental health, Nietzsche produced a body of work that challenged conventional morality and celebrated the potential of the human spirit. His writings, such as Thus Spoke Zarathustra and Beyond Good and Evil, called for a re-evaluation of all values and encouraged individuals to break free from societal constraints. Their lives and works, though separated by time and temperament, remain intertwined. Schopenhauer's influence on Nietzsche is undeniable. Yet Nietzsche's philosophy ultimately took a different direction, emphasizing the power of the individual to shape their own destiny. Nietzsche, initially influenced by Schopenhauer, eventually broke away, forging his own distinctive path. He rejected Schopenhauer's pessimism and instead embraced a philosophy of life affirmation and self-overcoming. Exploring their ideas together allows us to confront timeless questions about our place in the universe, the nature of good and evil, and the meaning of human existence itself. By examining the contrasts and connections between Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, we gain deeper insights into the complexities of the human condition and the enduring quest for understanding and meaning. Schopenhauer's philosophy starts with a simple but profound observation. The world is driven by a blind, striving force he calls will. This will is not just a mere concept, but a fundamental principle that underlies all of reality. This will is not the will of a god or any conscious entity, but a fundamental force that permeates all of existence. It is an irrational, aimless drive that manifests in every aspect of life, from the smallest organism to the vast cosmos. It is the force behind our desires, our urges, and even the basic functions of our bodies. Every action we take, every thought we have is influenced by this relentless will. For Schopenhauer, this will is the root of all suffering. It is the source of our endless striving and dissatisfaction. Because the will is insatiable, we are trapped in a constant cycle of desire and gratification, only to desire more once that gratification fades. This endless pursuit leaves us in a perpetual state of unrest. This cycle, he argues, is the essence of human experience. We are always chasing after something, never fully content with what we have. Imagine a thirsty man in a desert. His need for water becomes an all-consuming drive. He craves water, driven by the will. This craving is not just a simple desire, but a powerful force that compels him to act. He finds an oasis and drinks deeply, satisfying his thirst. For a moment, he feels relief and contentment. But the satisfaction is fleeting. The momentary pleasure quickly fades, and the thirst returns. Soon, thirst returns, and the cycle begins anew. This relentless cycle of desire and temporary satisfaction is a fundamental aspect of the human condition. This, Schopenhauer argues, is how the will operates, not just with basic needs like thirst, but with all our desires, from wealth and power to love and recognition. We are constantly seeking something, always wanting more. Schopenhauer's solution to this predicament is a life of asceticism and detachment. He believed that by renouncing our desires and quieting the will, we could find a way to escape this endless cycle of suffering. By renouncing our desires and quieting the will, he believed we could achieve a state of peace and liberation from suffering. This path requires discipline and self-control, but it offers the promise of true contentment. This path, though difficult, offered a way out of the endless cycle of wanting. It is a journey towards inner peace and a deeper understanding of the nature of existence. Nietzsche, initially influenced by Schopenhauer, found himself captivated by the idea of a fundamental force driving the universe. Schopenhauer called this force the will to live, a blind, insatiable striving for survival and reproduction. However, Nietzsche's philosophical journey led him to a different conclusion. Ultimately, he charted a different course, diverging from Schopenhauer's somewhat pessimistic view of existence. Nietzsche agreed that a fundamental force drives the universe, but he called it the will to power. This concept was not merely about survival or the continuation of life. This will, unlike Schopenhauer's blind striving, is not just about survival or fulfilling basic needs. It is about growth, expansion, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. It's about growth, expansion, and the constant drive to overcome limitations. Nietzsche saw this drive in every aspect of life, from the smallest organisms to the grandest human achievements. For Nietzsche, every living thing, from the smallest cell to the most complex organism, embodies this will to power. This force is what propels life forward, constantly pushing the boundaries of what is possible. It's the force that pushes us to learn, to create, to dominate, and to constantly strive for something greater than ourselves. This drive is evident in our quest for knowledge, our artistic endeavors, and our desire to innovate. Imagine an artist struggling to capture a vision on canvas. The artist's relentless pursuit of perfection, the drive to bring an idea to life, is a manifestation of the will to power. They're driven by the will to power, pushing their limits, seeking to create something beautiful and meaningful. This creative struggle is a testament to the power of this fundamental force. The struggle itself, Nietzsche argues, is what gives life value. It is through overcoming challenges and pushing our boundaries that we find meaning and fulfillment. Nietzsche rejected Schopenhauer's call for renunciation. He believed that withdrawing from the world and its struggles was a denial of life's potential. Instead, he embraced the struggle, urging us to become Übermenschen or overmen, individuals who transcend conventional morality and create their own values based on a life-affirming embrace of the will to power. These Übermenschen are not bound by societal norms or traditional values. They forge their own path, driven by an inner strength and a desire to achieve greatness. Nietzsche's will to power is a call to embrace life's challenges and to strive for continuous self-improvement, ultimately leading to a more profound and meaningful existence. Despite their different conclusions, Schopenhauer and Nietzsche shared some fundamental views about human nature and its complexities. Both recognized the powerful role of irrational forces in shaping our thoughts and actions, often beyond our control. They saw reason, often touted as humanity's defining characteristic, as a mere tool in service of deeper, more primal drives and instincts. Schopenhauer believed that reason is often used to justify our desires after the fact, rather than guide them. We convince ourselves that our actions are rational, even when they are driven by the blind, insatiable will within us. Nietzsche echoed this sentiment, arguing that even our most cherished beliefs are often masks for the will to power, disguising our desires as noble ideals. Both philosophers also recognize the inherent selfishness of human nature, a trait deeply embedded in us. Schopenhauer saw this selfishness as a direct consequence of the will's relentless pursuit of its own ends and desires. Nietzsche, while not condemning selfishness outright, saw it as a natural expression of the will to power, a force that seeks its own expansion even at the expense of others.